Alright guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you exactly how to use the ANN, right, the ANN in Matlab Simulink, right, how to use the ANN, which is the artificial neural network, right, in Matlab Simulink. So that's what I'm going to be showing in this video. So if that's what you want to know, how to use it, the ANN in Matlab Simulink, watch this video step by step and make sure you pay close attention till the end. So the first thing you want to do is to come over to Matlab, obviously, right? You want to make sure that you can come over to Matlab. Just open a tab on your browser if you want to come over to Matlab and type in Matlab. You will come over to this page where it says this website called Matwork. Click on it and to take you inside, and then you come to the top right here where it says Matlab. You click on it and just like that you'll be inside of Matlab. All right, it's going to take some seconds to load, as you can see. So basically this is how to come over to Matlab. I'm assuming you already have an account. If you do, right, just come to where it says open Matlab online. You can actually install, but it's actually a long process. But then I'll just go over to the open Matlab online. It's still the same thing, right? So it's actually loading and it's just going to take about 10 seconds. So they're about to actually come up. It is super simple, right? But then basically this is actually how to come over to Matlab. So now we're going to be able to use the ANN inside of Matlab Simulink. We want to try and use it. But then if you don't know, for those of you who don't know what the Matlab is, right, the ANN Matlab is, let me just explain what ANN means and why we use it. All right, so what ANN means, it actually stands for the artificial neural network, like I said earlier, right? And it's a computer model that tries to work like the human brain, right? Basically that's actually what it is. It learns patterns from data and makes predictions or decisions. All right, that's basically what it does. So how the ANN works, if you don't know, the simple explanation is that ANNs are made up of layers of small processing units called neurons, right? That's why it's called artificial neural network. You can think of neurons as mini calculators that take numbers in, process them, and then pass them forward. So basically that's actually it, right? A simple ANN has normally three components, right? That's the input layer where your data enters. For example, right, you have temperature, time, and price, and all of that. So those things are simple input layers that enters. Then you have the hidden layers where the learning actually happens. This is the part that the ANN does not show you, right? This is where the learning process is not being shown. Okay, so the network adjusts weights to find patterns, right? The network adjusts weights to find patterns, right? So then you have the next layer, which is the output layer, where you get your final results, like the predicting a value or classifying something, right? So basically that's actually what it is. So why do we actually use it, right? ANNs are used because they can learn complex relationship, right, between inputs and outputs, right? They are used because they can learn complex relationship between inputs and outputs, even when we don't know the exact mathematical formula. They are very simple and useful when the data is non-linear. Okay, it does not follow a straight line pattern, right? So when things are a little bit complex and not following a straight line pattern, that's one of the places where your ANNs are useful, right? It's also useful when you have a lot of data and want the computer to find hidden patterns. Okay, and it's also useful when you want to predict outcomes or classify items automatically. Basically that's what it is. Right, so we have some examples right here, like predicting house prices from features like size, room, and location, recognizing objects in images, forecasting sales or stock prices, and all of that. So basically, that's what it does, and it's actually very amazing. I can go further and further, right, but you get the point. And how do we use the ANN in Matlab Simulink, right? So basically, that's what we're going to be doing. So I'll just come here. What we're going to do right now is we're going to come to our command prompt right here. So you should see a command prompt when you open the Matlab right here, right? So what you're going to do is to paste in this NN start, right? Click on NN start. It is super simple. What is going to happen is that it's going to bring out the neural network start right here. So it should look something like this. There are also other ways you can actually access it, but then this is actually the easiest. So you'll be given three options, right? You'll be given three options to select from. You have the fitting, you have the pattern recognition, clustering, and then time series. Basically these are the things that the ANN can actually do for you, right? So but then the easiest one is just fitting. All right, so that's the easiest one right now. But then the fitting tool, right, is used when you want to predict numerous sorry, it's used when you want to predict continuous values, right? Continuous values like regression and other ones. Right? So basically that's when the fitting tool is used, right? Which is this fitting tool right here. Okay. Now you also have other ones like the pattern recognition tool, which is for classification of tags, right? For classification of tags. So you also have clustering tool, right? For grouping similar data. You also have the time series tools, which is for predicting future values based on past data. Now these three are actually a bit complicated, right? But then the easiest one is actually the fitting tool. So let me just try it out. We are going to actually work with the fitting tool right here. Let's see what we can do with it. I'm just going to show you how to use it like here. It is super simple. So as you can see, we just clicked on it right here and it's actually coming up right here. So this is what yours should look like, right? It's basically going to look like this. It's going to give us a diagram right here, which we are going to ignore because it's not really necessary. This is it. This is just showing you the pattern of how it works, but then this is actually not necessary. What you want to do is that you want to import a folder, you want to import a file that we can contains the data that we need. All right, so basically that's what we want to do. We want to import. So normally you have to load or create sample data, right? You can actually create a sample data if you don't have anyone. If you don't have any existing data, you can actually try and import simple fitting data sets, right? So because Matlab actually has some the ones you can actually try out. So I'm just going to import my own tool right here, and as you can see, what's going to happen right here is that I'm just going to try and import something right here because I have my own tool right here, which is this one right here. Basically that's how it works. All right, so what's actually going to happen is this, because this is there's actually a little issue right here because it's actually showing the t and it's actually showing t here, which is not supposed to be. The predictor is supposed to be one and then the responses is supposed to be another right here, so which is the x and your t. So what's going to happen is I'm just going to make this x here while this other one is t, so it can actually work out. I'll just click on it right here and click on OK. It's actually going to import. All right, so it's actually the same thing with my own document right here, so there's no need. So as you can see, we actually have imported it right here. These are the data that we're going to import and working with. So the next thing, once you've imported your data, you just come here and click where it says train. It is super simple. So we just wait and watch it train. All right, so as you can see, it did not actually waste time, right? It's actually done. So what's going to happen next, right? We can actually export it right here, which is super amazing, right? We can export to Simulink, we can export to Workspace and all of that. So I'll personally export it to Simulink, right? So that we can be able to use it, where we can generate Simulink block. With it, we can actually export and be able to use it inside of Simulink and all of that. So basically that's it, which is what we're doing, right? We export to Simulink and Simulink will create a Simulink block of your train network, which is super amazing, right? This block can now be dragged into any Simulink model, right? Which we are going to actually try it out, right? So basically we've actually just created a new block, right? Using the ANN, the artificial neural network. We've actually created our own block. So we can now use it inside of Simulink. All right, which is super amazing. Okay, so this is super amazing. So now that your ANN is trained, you can generate a Simulink block automatically, right? Which is super amazing, right? We just go to our command prompt and click on generate Simulink block. Let's see. Like, right? So this is actually it, right? So basically this is what it is when you use the ANN to generate Simulink right here. So this is actually how it looks like. As you can see, this is the constant right here and this is the scope, and you can see what it looks like with the neural network right here, the input and output. So basically that's how it functions. Yeah, so basically that's it, guys. So basically that's actually it for this video. All right, so do also like this video if you got any value, and also subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. And yeah, with that being said, I will see you in the next video.